All right. Time to start. If everyone could please stand and say pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming, and to begin, I'd like to get a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda for March 12th, 2024.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So passes 5-0. Thank you. I now need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 13th, 2024.
Motion to approve the regular minutes from February 13th, 2024.
Need a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So passes unanimously. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the workshop from February 27th, 2024.
Motion to approve the minutes from the workshop, February 27th, 2024.
Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So passes 5-0. Just to let everyone know, town manager couldn't be here today. And we have one person down in Florida on vacation, that's Steve Cobb, and the other one is rehabbing a new knee. And that is Don Walsh, but they are on YouTube. So moving forward, we have no communication presentations to be made tonight, so this afternoon, someone asked Dawn Fox to give us the financials.
Thank you. Before you have the monthly financial update as of February 29th, 2024. At that point, we collected 99.92% of our real estate taxes. At this point, we only have 5 accounts that aren't paid, and those are ones that owe not only this year, but previous years. Liens have been placed on those properties. The assessment list for FY 2025 was posted on February 15th as required by charter. Citizens had until the 7th to come in and review all assessments and to either do an informal appeal or a formal appeal. At this point, we have no appeals. And so unless something comes in the next couple of days, we will not be having a board of assessment meeting, but we will let the board members know by the end of the week. On March 5th, Tidewater Utilities provided us a list of 21 customers with past due balances. Courtesy calls were placed and disconnection notices will be mailed next week. As of today, we had 17 still with outstanding balances, 1 on a payment plan, and 2 that have said they will have payments to us by the end of the month. Moving on to our balances of our reserve and committed funds. Our emergency reserve trust fund has a balance of $1,200,358. The capital replacement trust fund has a balance of $1,275,365. The street repair and replacement trust has a balance of $2,217,880. Our American Rescue Plan Act Fund has a balance of a little over $244,000. Of that $244,000, all of it has been encumbered to be used for 8 Oakwood or to be used in the design plans for the PD storage facility. Moving on to our emergency services enhancement. We had 9 new home construction permits. And there is a balance of $1,049,571. Transfer taxes are through the end of January, and they're 19.8 from new construction, 2% from land sales, and 78.2 from resales of home. That comes down to be 20 new construction homes, 79 resales of existing homes, and 8 land sales. Currently, we're a little over 103,000 above our year-to-date target. Following on page 3 and 4 are your financial statement recap with the analytics following on page 5 and 6. As of the end of February, we were at 70% utilized of our operating budget. Normally for period 10, it's at 83%. So we're right under where our utilization should be. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. Dawn, can you remind me, again, how much do we rebate in property tax with the 1% early payment?
This year, it's actually on page, it is right there. 27,772 was how much was utilized of the 32,000 budgeted.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions for Dawn?
Mr. Mayor, I have just a few.
Okay, go ahead.
Dawn, when will the state let us know again the insurance rates? The health insurance rates. What's that date again?
They are supposed to be meeting in the middle of March. They'll be sending us out what the rates will be, and they go into effect July 1st.
All right, thank you. You mentioned the municipal water system. There was an email, and you were working with some folks in reference to a problem with their lot. Has that been resolved, or is that still ongoing? And was that part of the numbers that you gave us as far as late and delinquent?
Their property is unimproved, so they are not part of the shut-off list because we cannot shut off unimproved properties. We had sent them a letter. The letter they received, yet they say they hadn't received any bills. So we've been working with Middlesex Water or Tidewater Utilities to figure out why. They did figure on their system the reason why the bills weren't getting to them. They fixed it. So they should receive bills in the future, and we have waived the late fees that have been placed on that. I emailed the customer back along with copying you and the mayor.
Very good, thank you. And then one last question on the rescue funds. You said that the 244,000 is spoken for with 8 Oakwood and something else, and I didn't quite hear what that other item was.
If you probably, the police department is looking to put up a storage facility. And we have earmarked part of the ARPA funds for design for that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Dawn? Thank you very much, Dawn.
Thank you.
Moving on now to the police report, Captain.
Mayor, Council, good afternoon. You have before you the monthly council
Can you
report.
turn on your microphone?
What's that?
Can you turn on your microphone? It's on. Okay,
Can you hear me? You have Chief McLaughlin's monthly report before you. If you have any questions, I'd be more than willing to try to answer them for you. A couple things I would like to highlight is we obviously have hosted and attended a host of training events as always. It's an ongoing thing. Sergeant Mark Burton received the Officer of the Year Award for 2023, well deserved. I'd like to highlight that. We also had luncheon for our new officer, Tara Mazza, on the 29th for her swearing in. She graduated the police academy the following evening, March 1st, and she is currently starting her field training right now. She's into her second shift, doing well so far. Also, SR contract with the Indian River School District was finalized. That's about it. If I can answer any questions.
I have one question. On the miscellaneous, you have down here that the new state law required all police agencies to develop citizen advisory committees.
Yes.
Who gets appointed to those committees?
The chief, there is a criteria to be on that committee. I don't know what that is right off the top of my head, but there has certain, they want somebody from the clergy there. They wanted, other, I guess, walks of life, on the committee. But it is a newly state law, and we're going to partner with South Bethany and Fenwick Island and Dewey Beach to comprise one committee, and they will cover all 4 towns. One of our volunteers, Miss Gail Driver, has been, I believe, has been picked to chair the committee, since she is she's a woman, and she's also has a law degree. She would be a perfect choice for that. Checks a couple boxes there. But there is a criteria for who is on the committee, but I would have to refer that to Chief McLaughlin. I do not have that at my disposal right now.
Okay, so do you know how many people will be on that
I
committee?
believe it's 5.
5.
Yeah.
So one from each,
I believe it's 1 from each town, and I believe the 5th one, I'm not sure who the 5th one is, but there is 1 from each town, and then it might be the chair, it might be 2 from Ocean View, since we also are having one of our citizens as being the chair.
Mhm.
So we might end up with 2 from Ocean View there.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions for the captain? If not, then we move forward to planning and zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our report's relatively short month, same as last month. Shore Vista Residential Community, for those who don't know, is a planned 104 villas townhomes located at 142 Woodland Avenue. That's kicked off. Basically, all that's going on out there is a regrading of prong 3 of the bank's Bennett tax ditch, which, as we know, in the past has had caused Woodland Avenue in that area to flood at times. Since they've been cut the trees and been grading the ditch, we've seen significant improvement. Although they're not finished, I anticipate that once that gets cleared out, our drainage issues on Woodland Avenue will be resolved. Silverwood's mixed use plan community, they continue site work for the first phase of their 161 townhouse community. Stingray Harbor community has completed their build out, all 36 homes. We've compiled a punch list for the developer, which we have not passed on, as we are currently working through some issues with the builder. Ocean View Beach Club, residential plan community, they continue to construct their multifamily dwelling units. And in the back, they are going to begin construction on 11 single family units. These units are in unincorporated Sussex County, so we don't have anything to do with that. But they are key to us being able to close that project out and give them their punch list and allow them to start fixing things and pave the layout of the community. Capital improvement projects, Cottages drainage improvement project continues due to all of the rain that we had this winter. The completion date has been pushed to April 15th, 2024. I would say it's probably 85% complete. Port Royal and Columbia Avenue are complete. Their driveways paved, everything cleaned up. They're working on White's Creek Road, White's Creek Lane. I'm not sure if it's a road or a lane, but they're working back there. Probably should get through that in the next week or 2, and then got some incidentals to take care of, and then that should be cleaned up, and then we'll be in there paving right after that, the entire community. So our commitment to that community, when all said and done, will be about $1.2 million in improvements. Woodland and Daisy sidewalk and drainage, that project is substantially complete. Final surface profile milling and paving is scheduled to begin tomorrow. Let me see what we got here. Design for, West Avenue sidewalks, that continues. I'd say that design, we just met with the consultant last week. That design is probably in the 75% range. I'm expecting 90% plans for review in April. Only problems that I see that we've encountered, and they're not really problems, they're challenges, is in the north end of the project, we have 3 utility poles that will need to be moved, or we're gonna need to run the sidewalk behind the utility poles, which will necessitate the need for permanent easements for sidewalks home. And they'll be small, the sidewalk will jog out around the pole and it'll come back in. With the property owners, I talked with Councilman Cobb about that a little bit this morning. So we'll keep you updated on that. Paving project, they're getting all their submittals in, and we anticipate that will start at the end of this month as well, or the 1st of April. The communities to be paved will be the cottages and the Wedgefield community. On the grants front, we are actively pursuing grant opportunities for construction funding for the next 2 segments of sidewalks along Woodland Avenue for construction phases. We're also going to, and I didn't put this in here because we haven't put any the grant stuff together. We haven't started working on it yet, but we're also going to pursue grants through Deldots TAC program for the remainder of West. And we are also, come May 1st, we'll be looking into grants for the construction of the Burzens Nature Center project. So we'll have a full list of grant opportunities that we're going to be exploring. Code enforcement, staff issued 2 code violation notices for unregistered vehicles, as well as 2 notifications for failure to obtain a business license and or building permits. And not on this list is 2 code violations. I haven't sent them out yet. That we have with Capstone Homes. Capstone Homes went to settlement on 2 homes in the Stingray Harbor residential community without having a town certificate of occupancy. That's not good. So I'm working with Solicitor Faust on how we want to move forward with these code violations. Business and rental licenses, that's there for you. I don't want to take up any more of your time. If you had some questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions for Ken?
Yes, and I don't want to bog this down. When they're paving their way out of the community to developers, in the sewer pipes and all, do we, the town inspect that, or is that part of the?
That'll be part of the inspection, the pipes and drainage inlets and all that.
Okay. I didn't know. if that was
Anything
part
in
of the
our right of
plan,
way.
Right.
Now, the stuff that's on the condominium roads belong to the community.
Right.
But the streets belong to us,
Now, and the condominiums,
not in the condos, but the streets.
all the
and
other
regular
streets in the fee separate are ours. Yep.
Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Ken, I forgot to talk to you about this. The copy of the Senate bill to amend housing as it pertains to Ocean View. Do you foresee any of that issue being a problem?
I
if
looked at
passed?
a couple of them, so I don't know which one you're specifically talking about. I looked at a couple of them this week that Carol forwarded to me. Was it the one that would impact, it would impact our code that had to do with accessory dwelling units?
Yeah, or in-law apartments, things of that nature.
Yeah, that's not a good thing for our town. Imagine if, because it nullifies several sections of our code. And imagine if you bought into a development because you like the deed restrictions. And you want to know that only certain things can be done in your community because it is deed restricted. That would nullify, this bill would nullify the deed restriction. And in my opinion, I think it's an extreme overreach by state government.
Yeah, and that's the way I read it, Ken. We would have no recourse, the town. Our codes would become default secondary.
No control over what it looked like.
And one last question. Do we know how that's proceeding, or would that be a Carol question or a SCAT question or?
That would be a Carol or Mayor Reddington or staff question. I just shared my recommendation with Carol.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
One last question. Do we have much flooding in the town with all that rain that we've had?
Not really. I had one sediment basin that overflowed into someone's property at the Woodland Daisy project, and we're addressing that, making it right. A little bit of flooding on Woodland, but nothing significant, but only a couple hours and the water was pretty minor.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
The town manager isn't here, so I will give her a report. On the 25 budget, we've completed our 25 budget workshop on February 27. And we have placed the introduction of the budget ordinance on the agenda for today's meeting. At this time, there's no plan to hold a second budget workshop, having responded to all questions that have been raised to date. Absent any questions or the need for additional feedback or information, the 25 budget will stand as proposed. Likewise, if there is the case, we would plan to hold a public hearing on the 25 budget on May 9th, the council meeting with a vote for adoption thereafter. With regard to 8 Oakwood, in relationship to our purchase of 8 Oakwood and our approval of $89,950 towards the purchase of the property from Denrex Outdoor Recreation Parks and Trails grant program, we amended the deed in association with the property being required to always remain an amenity associated with John West Park. We had a blood drive here at the community center on February 23rd. It was a great success. The Quiet Resorts Valor Awards luncheon, the town manager and Councilwoman Twazik and I were fortunate enough to be able to attend the annual Valor Awards luncheon with other members of the Ocean View Police Department, and Corporal Mark Burton, as the captain had said earlier, was recognized as Ocean View's Police Department's Valor Award recipient. Town manager and I attended the Indian River School District SRO meeting on February 26th at the Indian River School, at the Indian River School District, and they voted unanimously to sign the Town of Ocean View OVPD and the Indian River School District agreement regarding our SRO being placed at the Lord Baltimore Elementary School. It's taken a while to get this accomplished, but we are happy that we're able to do it. The town manager, along with the police chief, attended the graduation ceremony for Tara Maza on March 1. It provided an opportunity to not only welcome the officer, but also to meet her family and friends that were in attendance to show their support. And we had a swearing-in ceremony on February 29. She's working on 2 new grants for support of the development of the Burzins property. And additional card access funding through DEMA. She's attended various meetings. There's also a public works report that you could look at if you're interested. The Fire and Ice Festival, I thought the chamber provided the economic benefit of this fire and ice in districts district around here. Just as an example, the occupancy rate of the Bethany Beach Ocean Suites Hotel during that event had 90% occupancy. The following weekend was only 30%. Fenwick Shores had 29%, during that weekend, and following week 41%, and the Hyatt Place in Dewey had 100% occupancy that week and followed with only 7% the following week. So you can see that it's bringing a lot of benefit to the towns around us. In fact, $38,096 of charitable contributions were made to this event that went towards BB Healthcare, South Coastal Emergency Department and Cancer Center, the Millville Volunteer Fire Company, Lord Baltimore PTO, Santa's Letters and Salted Vines, at Salted Vines, Scout Troop 281, Believe in Tomorrow, in the Delaware Inland Bays. So it was a very well-attended and useful event. Any questions on that report?
Yeah.
If not, then we'll move on to the Volunteer Fire Department report. This month, they had a total of 219 calls, which is 8 more than last year at that time, at this time. 193 of that 219 were EMS calls. And 23 calls were in the town of Ocean View, which is a 6 less than last year. Is there any further business to discuss before we move to citizens' privilege? No.
No.
Okay, at this point, we're moving to citizens' privilege on the items of the pre-published agenda for discussion, consideration, or items that may have been added at this time to the pre-published agenda for discussion and consideration. If anyone chooses to speak at the first citizens' privilege, he or she may not speak on the same topic at the second citizens' privilege. So does anyone here have anything they want to say with regard to what's on the sound agenda? No? Okay, moving on. Thank you. Move on to new business. Introduction of a ordinance establishing the annual operating budget for fiscal year ending April 30, 2025. Don?
The fiscal year 2025 operating budget is being given to you as proposed with an operating budget of $5,915,245. The capital budget in an amount of $1,995,595, and the water utility operating budget in the amount of $624,500. We're requesting that the ordinance be introduced this evening.
Okay, you might as well go on with the next one as well.
Okay, we are also have submitted an ordinance establishing the revision to the capital expenditures budget for fiscal years ending 2025 through April 30th, 2029. This also is as proposed and revised with a 5-year total of $5,683,130.
Thank you. Are there any questions with regard to these two ordinances? We're not voting on them tonight.
We need somebody to
They
introduce.
need to be introduced.
Yes, so somebody,
Yeah.
so somebody needs to introduce, each move to
Right.
introduce these.
So we,
But we ask questions first.
I'm sorry.
We don't need to ask any questions, just introduction.
Oh, okay. All right, then I need a motion to introduce the ordinance establishing the annual operating budget for fiscal year ending April 30, 2025.
I'd like to make a motion. We establish annual operating budget for fiscal year ending April 30th, 2025.
Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'm sorry, we don't need to, we're not voting on it, we're just,
Yeah, just introduction.
Oh,
we're just introducing it, yeah.
okay, thank you.
And then we'll need one for the second.
We need a motion to introduce the ordinance establishing the revision of the capital expenditures budget for fiscal years ending April 30, 2025 to 29. So I
Mr.
need-
Mayor, I'll introduce the ordinance establishing the capital expenditure budget fiscal years ending April 30th, 2025 to 2029.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to discussion, consideration, and possible voting on updated 2024 reserve study.
Okay, at the February 13th council meeting, Councilman Cobb asked that the vote to accept the updated reserve study be tabled until today in order to give council time to review the studies. So now you've had it for another month. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them. If I'm not able to, we can always table the vote again until April when Carol returns.
All right, are there any questions for Dawn on the reserve study?
Mr. Mayor, 113 pages, read through it. And, my overall, comment of it is the town is, been using the new CFN method, and, our funding is adequate, at our current time. And the model that the Whaling Company uses to project out 20 or 30 years, it does show that we are well capitalized in our reserve fund. So I appreciate the town giving me another opportunity to read through it, and I have no objections to it.
Okay, any other comments? No. Then I need a motion to approve the updated 2024 reserve study.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the updated 2024 reserve study.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So passes 5-0. The next item, discussion, consideration, and possible voting on a recommendation fiscal year 24 street paving project.
Thank you, Mayor. Advertisements soliciting sealed bids for the FY 24 street paving and patching project. Project number OVPCND 24-06 for placed in local newspapers and on the town's website. The work involves furnishing all labor, materials, transportation, tools, supplies, and equipment necessary to make roadway patches, mill and overlay streets in the Wedgefield and Cottages communities located in the incorporated town of Ocean View. 2 sealed bids were received and opened on February 22nd, 2024. Jerry's Paving Incorporated for $658,000, $770,000. George and Lynch Incorporated for $710,443.85. The project estimate, the engineer's estimate, was for $670,872.84. A complete review and summary of the bids was performed by Nick Nussbaum, project manager, Wallace Montgomery and Associates, and it's attached for your review. Funding is available for these projects in the FY 24 street repair and replacement trust fund totaling $694,800,000. It's therefore recommended that mayor and council authorize the town manager to enter into a contract with Jerry's Incorporated for the total bid amount of $658,770.
Thank you. Any questions? Comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to authorize the town manager to enter into a contract with Jerry's Incorporated for the total bid amount of $658,770.
Motion to approve the recommendation for street paving to Jerry's Inc. $658,770.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passes 5-0.
As a side note, if I may, we're out of the real heavy paving cycle that we've been in for the last 3 years with the $750,000 million paving project. So you can expect them to be half that amount moving forward over the next several years with some microsurfacing milled in at a much lower cost.
Good. Good, thank you. Okay, moving on to, discussions, consideration, and possible voting on emergency sole source purchase. I think you've all had, seen the background that we, needed to do a emergency sole source purchase for transfer switches for the new generator in the administration building. They need to be replaced at the cost of $19,200. Or you could rewire them for almost $4,000, but there is no guarantee that the rewiring would work. And then, if they didn't work, then we would have to put in the new transfer switches, so. A decision was made to, move forward with, Generac. To, purchase a new, transfer switches. There's a 4 to 6 week delivery time frame for receipt of the replacement transfer switches from the order date. And further complicating the matters, the old generator was placed on the US government surplus auction site for sale. And in fact, did sell on February 22 for $2,200. Under the auction regulations, the successful bidder expects immediate and reasonable availability once the sale concludes and funds are received. The town manager phoned the successful bidder and explained our situation. He was gracious to allow our time to address the matter. His original intent was to pick up the generator by the first week of March. If we turn over the old generator, our facility will be without emergency power backup until such time as either options were completed. Given all the information that was compiled in relationship to the successful installation completion of the natural gas generator project, including the continued question in relationship to support or part availability from Generac for rewired transfer switches, the possible future failure of the rewired transfer switches, likely requiring the purchase of replacement switches at a higher option, and our obligation to make the old generator available as soon as possible to the winning bidder. The town manager deemed the purchase and the installation of the replacement transfer switches that work with the new natural gas generator to be in the best interest of the town. They're placing an order as soon as possible meets the intent of the emergency purchase, given the sole source aspect of this project and is in the best interest of the town. Obtaining additional bids for the switches would open the town up to 2 contractors pointing fingers at each other in regards to natural gas generator installation and waiting for the next meeting of the council on March 12th will further delay the receipt of the switches and inconvenience the winning bidder, who would demand immediate access to the generator. Funds are available for the purchase and installation of 2 new transfer switches at the cost of $19,200, including the necessary labor and materials from the Capital Reserve Trust Fund. It is therefore recommended that in accordance with the Town of Ocean View Code and Policy Manual for purchasing an emergency purchase order under the sole source determination, the transfer switches in installation at the total cost of $19,200 to Bonds Electric Incorporated to facilitate the final installation and operation of our new natural gas generator was deemed warranted by the town manager. Further ordering the switches now in advance to the vote of the council is appropriate in relationship to eliminating uncertainties with maintaining the Generac switches and our requirement of making the old generator available to the winning auction bidder as soon as possible. So, any questions, comments with regard to this issue?
So essentially, we're moving to affirm the purchase made by the emergency purchase made by the town manager with respect to these items.
Right.
That they were already purchased.
Right. Yeah, I agree. The only, because you'd be in a finger pointing saying if we didn't purchase their switches and
So, you know,
so.
all right, then if there are no further comments or questions, I need a motion. On the emergency sole source purchase,
The transfer switches for the new generator.
yes,
So approving the town manager's emergency sole source purchase for the transfer switches for the new generator. We just need a motion for that.
Motion to approve the purchase of the town manager's recommended transfer switches for the new generator.
wait a second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So passes 5-0. Thank you. The last item is discussion, consideration, possible voting on a recommended update to the town policy manual, section 20. So town manager's report here is our recent experience with the need to audit, purchase transfer switches for the new natural gas generator fully outlined to the council in the recommendation format. Led to board determination that existing town policy manual does not adequately provide for professional response to emergency needs of the town without risk of the manager overstepping procedure or hesitating to react in the best interest of the town. While emergencies are contemplated, they are more specifically linked to a federal or state in Delaware declared emergency. This is insufficient to react to the many forms of emergency that local governments may need to address. You'll find on the following pages, the town of Ocean View purchasing procedures. It is therefore recommended that the mayor and council authorize the addition of this expanded emergency contract and purchase allowance to provide clear guidance to the town manager and staff and facilitate our ability to proactively address emergency needs of the town. So I have talked with the town manager today with regard to that section that you have that's in yellow. And in the first paragraph that begins with in case of accident or emergency, there's just a small correction that I wanted to make, and that is, I'll read it and then in case of an accident or emergency not subject to state or federal emergency notifications, the town manager may, with the consent of the council, award contracts and make purchases for the purpose of repairing damages caused by accident, meeting the public interest, or addressing the matters of the town, where delays may increase burden or expense to the town. But, and here's the word change, he/she. That's my recommendation to be consistent with other languages in the town Ocean View procedures. Secondly, in the second paragraph, which says such an emergency purchase may not exceed the value of $22,500. I recommend that that we put a period there. And rather than the sentence that she has included, I would say upon approval by the mayor or the mayor pro tem, when necessary, if delayed, would cause a threat to public health, welfare, or safety, or otherwise injure the town financially or otherwise. Such emergency procedures will be made with competition if practical for the purposes of other circumstances. I think this language would, not that our town manager would do anything wrong, but just thinking of the future, we would not want to have an open-ended emergency purchase that would, without approval, beyond the $22,500. So that's why I said upon approval by the mayor or the mayor pro tem. I could see where there's an emergency that might happen on a weekend. There could be a flood in the building. You get someone in right away. They said it's going to cost $30,000 to do it. You don't have time to go through the regular process of getting everyone on the phone over the weekend. But if she could get the town mayor or the mayor pro tem to make that approval, then she could go ahead and make that emergency purchase. This is the reason behind that, and I talked to her about it, and she said she was fine with that.
So Mayor, my question is, with your change, and I have to look, we'll need to give your change, your handwritten change to the town clerk, so she can incorporate it into the record, but, I'm understanding that such emergency purchase shall not exceed the value of 22,500, and then you say upon approval by the mayor or the mayor pro tem. Are you, as the mayor and the mayor pro tem, able to approve emergency purchases in excess of 22,500? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right, I didn't see where you included that.
Okay, so, this would be.
Upon
This
approval,
would be a new
yeah.
sentence.
Upon approval of the mayor with, when necessary, if delay causes threat over the town financially or otherwise, what's the rest of the sentence? May make emergency purchases in excess of 22,500? So that it's not a full sentence.
Yeah.
Upon approval by
Right.
mayor or the mayor pro tem, when necessary, if delay could cause a threat to the public health, welfare, safety, or otherwise into the town financially. What do we want to say? That the town
May
manager,
exceed 22,500.
the town manager,
Question, that 22.5, is that a number dictated somewhere? Where did that 22.5 come?
so. This is a whole nother discussion. We're gonna have it some other
all right.
point, but there is that in our code allows us to make allows certain purchase limits. Okay, and 22.5 is one of
Is
the
it?
goalposts.
Okay,
Okay, in our town code. But that the state law allows more.
right.
And our town code allows a little less, so right now this is consistent with this town code. But I want to clear up this language, so what I understand is the mayor wants the second sentence to read is upon approval by mayor or mayor pro tem. When necessary, or delay could cause a threat to the public health, welfare, or safety, or otherwise injure the town financially, the town manager may make emergency purchases, may make an emergency purchase in excess of 22,500.
Mr. Mayor and Veronica. So what we're gonna try to do here is allow the town manager to make that emergency purchase of 22.5. Any excess of that needs approval by the mayor or mayor pro tem.
Right, if it's a true emergency and, it's not something that we have time to bring to council because it's gonna create a danger, yeah, she's
Right.
gotta bring it to the mayor pro tem.
Right. I mean, you could almost get that in 2 sentences. Mr. Mayor, I really appreciate what town manager did in keeping us very much informed about these switches. Her transparency was remarkable. What she's trying to do here for future councils is great. And I'm fully supportive of it. With the change in the language that we had discussed earlier. So therefore, we should make those changes, bring it back in April and vote on it. Is that what you're thinking?
I wasn't thinking about bringing it back in May. I was thinking that we could approve the wording today,
Okay,
if you don't object.
No, we should approve it today.
Okay.
All right, so why don't, for summary purposes, and then somebody can make the motion. We are essentially amending the town Ocean View purchasing procedures by adding a paragraph regarding emergency contracts and purchases limited authorization. And in the proposed two paragraph presented by the town manager, the mayor is proposing that in paragraph 1, before the words, but he shall promptly, that we change the language to, but he/she shall promptly file with the council written correspondence. So that's a 1-word change or addition
Yes.
to paragraph 1. In
Yes.
addition, in addition, the second paragraph will be amended to read as follows. And for the town clerk sanity, please know that I've written this down and I will be providing you with a copy of this. The second paragraph will be amended to read as follows. Such an emergency purchase may not exceed the value of 22,500 except as otherwise authorized below. We're going to add that. And I'm writing it in, so bear with me. Then it will continue to say, upon approval by mayor or mayor pro tem, when necessary, if delay could cause a threat to the public health, welfare, or safety, or otherwise injure the town financially, the town manager may make an emergency purchase in excess of 22,500, period. And then we're going to straighten the words or otherwise.
Say
And
that
then
again.
We're gonna straighten the words or otherwise. Because we say injure the town financially, I guess we could say, or never mind, let's I'm gonna reread that sentence. My
Thank you.
apology. I apologize. All right. So we should not straight this. So the way it's going to read is, the second sentence will read of the second paragraph, upon approval by the mayor or mayor pro tem, when necessary, if delay could cause a threat to public health, welfare, safety, or otherwise injure the town financially or otherwise, the town manager may make an emergency purchase in excess of 22,500, period. Such emergency procedures will be made with competition if practical for the circumstances.
I understand what you just said, but that is totally different what this paragraph says. The gist of this is the town manager, whether he or she, whoever it may be, can make an emergency purchase without council approval in the case of a threat to public health, welfare, or safety of the town, up to 22,500, period.
Correct.
Any emergency funding in excess of over $22,501 must have the approval of either the mayor or the mayor pro tem, period.
I think that's,
We all agree.
I think that's the intent of this language.
Well, I don't, with all due respect, that's not, I didn't read it that way, maybe listening to it.
Maybe my accept is authorized below. I think the intent is, and I don't know how to.
I think if I can respond, Steve, the wording, if you take a look at that paragraph that's in yellow, and at the end of that first sentence, there's a period, you know, such as emergency purchase may not exceed the value of 22,500, period.
Mayor, can I make a suggestion? Why don't we just say the town manager may make an emergency purchase not to exceed 22,500.
Period.
Yeah.
Period. All right, so we'll say, so the first paragraph of the second paragraph, the first sentence of the second paragraph to read, the town manager may make an emergency purchase not to exceed the value of 22,500. Then the second sentence will read, upon approval by the mayor or mayor pro tem, when necessary. You know what we should say? Yeah, when necessary.
Have a purchase above the 22.5 can only be authorized by the mayor pro tem, the mayor or mayor pro tem.
Period.
I'm fine
Period.
with that.
Right.
Well, that's what I just said a couple minutes ago. We got too much mumbo jumbo in here. Put some periods, make it finite, and the mayor and pro tem mayor are have to be available. And the town manager, if it's going to cost more, needs to get on the phone, call the mayor or mayor pro tem.
All right, so, Councilman Cobb, how does this work? The town manager may make an emergency purchase not to exceed the value of 22,500. The town manager may make an emergency purchase in excess of 22,500 with the approval of the mayor or the mayor pro tem. We
Yep.
lost you.
Yeah, no, that's good.
It'll work. That'll work.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one other question, Veronica, and I was talking to the mayor about this earlier. Let's say the town manager is incapacitated or something. The next in line to run the town would be whom? And then that person also, I don't know what everybody thinks about it, should have that same authority if the town manager is not available or incapacitated.
Well, presumably, if the town manager is incapacitated, we'll have an acting town manager, or,
Well, I think it's Dawn.
okay, Dawn, it's you, you're
Yeah,
second
yeah.
man here. So,
Normally.
all right, so what do you want it to say, Councilman?
Well, I think it's prudent that we say the mayor and mayor pro tem. I think it should be prudent that the second in charge in case the town manager is incapacitated, out of country or something. I don't know what the other council members think or thoughts.
Is this normally known that if the town manager is not available, that the acting town manager would be the finance director?
If Harold would be on vacation out of the country, the person next in charge would be Dawn.
Is that normal in every town?
That's the way it needs to be shown.
That reason not charter? Okay, then I don't think we need that wording.
No, because it's already written.
Oh, is it already
You don't
written?
need to be word,
Who would it be?
Yeah.
According to town clerk, it's in the charter.
right,
that,
so you don't need to do anything.
We don't need to do that.
Okay, so it's in the charter. Who is it?
Dawn,
Dawn.
Dawn,
Finance,
Thank you very much. That's all I needed.
okay, so I think we've agreed on the wording, but we need to have a motion to accept it. And I'll ask the town solicitor to read the motion, and someone can just say, that's my motion.
I'm gonna fix my wording here, so I don't totally screw this up. All right. So essentially what we need is a motion to amend the town purchasing procedures to add a paragraph for emergency contracts and purchases, limited authorization as proposed, in the wording provided by the town manager as revised here in discussions at the council meeting. And the amendment will be the he, she in paragraph 1. The amendment to paragraph 2 will be the town manager may make emergency purchases not to exceed the value of 22,500, period. The town manager may make emergency purchases in excess of 22,500 with the approval of the mayor and the mayor pro tem. Such emergency procedures will be made competition if practical for the circumstances, period.
Okay, with the mayor or mayor pro tem, not and.
Mayor or mayor pro tem. I'm sorry. I thought I said it were.
Okay. Does someone want to make that motion?
That's my motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So passes 5-0. Thank you. At this point, we're back to citizen privilege. Does anyone have anything you want to say?
I just want to say Carol doesn't like this when she gets back. I have to bring it back before you.
No, she's fine.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think we've expanded the powers and again, I think with Carol's transparency, It's opened up some um, better thought processes on the emergency powers, how much and who to contact.
Okay. Hearing no, comments or questions on citizen privilege, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So passes 5-0. We are now adjourned.